Hi, I'm Sherry from Mrs. S Room on TPT, and I often get asked how to run a really efficient typing program. I am a board consultant for assistive technology, or I was. I moved back to the classroom, and one of the things that teachers often struggle with is how to implement this now that the curriculum requires it. So we're going to look at some easy and simple ways that you can get this started in your room. You'll know that curriculum-wise, typing is added from grades 4 to 8. 3, we start to see cursive, and 4, we start to see typing. And it's in the D section of the curriculum. There are several typing programs you can use. Nowhere near all by any means is this one. And the one that I have used the most is typing.com. And I used that when I was in classrooms, and I used that to show teachers. You'll notice it has a little money sign next to it. That's because you can upgrade and buy the paid version. Don't. The free version is just fine. It works beautifully and it saves kids progress. So I would use that. The other ones I've used, DanceMat Typing and typingclub.com. I used DanceMat Typing more when I was a classroom teacher. It was something that I used just kind of for fun as an extra in grade 4, but not when it was required to be added to the curriculum. If you've seen my language video, you'll know that this is part of my how to run your language program and your daily schedule. So in my daily schedule, I build in about 20 minutes for cursive, morphology, and spiral language. And you can easily put typing as an independent practice center in here. But I wouldn't teach a lesson on typing during this time. I would find that too busy. So time for some easy tips. So when you go to teach kids about the keys, teach the next set of keys explicitly. You'll notice at the bottom with the little blue arrow that we've got a snapshot from typing.com, and it has the J, F, and space keys. Those are the keys that are grouped together on typing.com. Every program is different, but I would teach those 3 fingers and that section of typing.com all at once to kids and have kids practice while I watched. And the reason I would go around and watch as they were practicing is because I want to correct any mistakes. I want to correct them right then, because it's a whole lot easier to fix a student's posture or their finger position while I'm watching the first time than to wait an entire week and then go, oh, wait, you're doing that wrong. I would do this at a time when they are paying attention. Okay, so the end of the day is probably not your best time, especially at the beginning of the year. And then I would say that this is great for those who are kinesthetic. It allows some movement. At the same time, you're going to teach proper posture. You're going to teach some hand positions. But typing.com does have this built in. Do not let them move on to their words per minute before that lesson is over 15. So you can see at the very bottom of this screen, we've got JF and space, and the average words per minute is 19. So that student would be ready to move on to whatever the next lesson is. That's great. But if their words per minute was 10, then they would go back and redo those lessons again. And we want them to redo lessons. That's the goal. The more they redo the lessons, the more fluent they are with those keys. So when they log into typing.com, and again, I'm going to talk about typing.com. You can always investigate other programs, but I'm going to talk about this one because I know it the best. And if they logged in, all of these white bars would be below one another. So these are actually above the T, S, and L keys, and they go in order. So as a student finishes them, then they unlock the next one. I would say as a grade team, it might be worthwhile, especially breaking down what you want students to know for your school for every set of typing lessons. So are you all going to use typing.com? Because it would be easier if you did. And if you are, I would pick grade 4 to just do those 3 things, J, F, and space. And I would start with the idea that on J and F, there are little bumps, and they can find those bumps without looking by using these 2 fingers. And these 2 fingers are their strongest fingers. And so they're going to find those 2 fingers, and then we're going to practice that without the program even being on. I'm going to call out J, then F, then space. And they're going to do those things. And then we log in and do the program. And that gives them a little bit of confidence when they start. But I would only do this lesson. And the reason is in grade 4, often they haven't used a Chromebook a whole lot. They've been using iPads, at least in my district. And so then when they come in grade 4, it's a lot harder for them to get used to using Chromebooks, logging in, remembering logins. So it takes a bit of time in grade 4. Plus they're coming from primary, so that primary to junior transition is a little bit hard. So it's nice if you can give them some grace. You can break this down however you want. This is not part of the curriculum. This is just me, in my experience, seeing what seems to work. Then in grade 5, I would have them work on these 4 expectations. You might try to do 2 before Christmas, 2 after, or you might do 1 before Christmas and 3 after, because June typing is kind of nice. It's also a really nice thing to mark in June because then it's a really easy mark. I'll show you how to do that too. Then in grade 6 and 7, you want to get all the way to the beginner review in typing.com because that gives you most of the keys. Excuse me. And then in grade 7, you're going all the way down to the beginner wrap up. And we want to get them that far because that is all the keys that they need. So if they get that far and then they never get any farther, that's still okay. They are going to be fluent enough at typing that they can get through high school just fine. But then in grade 8, if they've already done all those, they can start working their way through what's called the intermediate lessons. And that will help them to really understand how to type with punctuation, capitalization, and then how to put the keys together with words. And that makes their life a lot easier when they get to high school. There is a specific order. Now, I know some teachers get bent out of shape that typing.com does not just do the home row. But I understand why they don't. They go by the strongest finger to weakest finger. Your strongest fingers are your index fingers, so they go by these fingers first. So I tell the kids all the keys that these fingers are responsible for. And then typing.com builds off that home row quickly and starts with those fingers. Then I tell them that their baby fingers, they just don't work out. They get to do very little. They have very few keys they get to do. And their thumbs are just downright lazy. And the only thing your thumbs can ever do is the space bar. And we practice that when I tell them. Some teachers I've seen, they do Typing Tuesday. This is where they do the lesson for the week, mini lesson, and then just show what fingers go with what keys. And then they have the kids practice. That works really well. I see huge gains in teachers that do this just once a week. It's amazing what that will do. Have them practice without doing the game. I think I've already said that. Go slowly. Do that as a class. This is great when they need to move. I tell the students that they can redo the lessons as often as they want. All I'm going to mark is their final accuracy and typing speed. And I tell parents that too. So that really encourages them to go back and relearn the keys and fix silly errors. It also encourages repetitive practice. And that's what we want. Because, well, kill and drill is not awesome for math facts sometimes. It's really awesome for typing. The only way you're going to learn is by practicing and practicing and practicing. And if I think back, I took keyboarding as a skill in high school. I'm that old. And it was one of the most useful courses that I took. I use that in my everyday life all the time. And so being a fluent typist can really benefit your students in the sense of what jobs they can get, but also how comfortable they feel in those jobs. So when you log into typing.com, kids are going to go to the Lessons Center, and that's where you really want them to go. But you might want to check out achievements because it will show what kids are able to do. So it will show your average typing speed, and it will also show your lesson badges. So this is really key for a report. So when you can see their lesson badges, that's where you can use your lesson badge as almost the expectation you're marking. So Sherry is beginning to explore typing when she types 10 words per minute on the J, F, and K keys. Next term, we will work on reviewing lessons consistently and using proper finger positions. So that would be somebody for a level 1, maybe at the end of grade 4. Now, of course, if they're still on J, F, and K and we're in grade 8 at the end of the year, then that's going to be a really low mark for that student. So keep in mind that the expectations and the report comments I've put here will vary. So if I have Sherry is very efficient when she types 30 words per minute on the J, F, and K keys, and next term we're going to be in to explore the U, R, and K keys. Well, Sherry should be further than that in grade 8. If this is grade 4, kudos. She's doing awesome. So it really does depend on where the students are in their grade level and where they are on typing.com. If you haven't already checked out my stuff on TPT, you'll find me on TPT at Mrs. S Room. I'm on Instagram at Mrs. S Room, and MrsSroom.com is my own personal website. I post any sales or previews of products. If I put out a product, I will often put it out at a discount, and I post those on my Facebook and my Instagram whenever I have them. Thank you for watching.